In this lesson, I want you to understand the meaning of when somebody says you need to stay alone to be better. You need to get the courage of being alone, to understand yourself, and to become a powerful creature. You see, how we always miss the teaching of loneliness is like most of the people think that when somebody says that you need to be alone, it means you need to get out of spaces, leave people, kick people out of your life and stay alone to understand yourself. But today I want to help you understand what being alone means. It is not about divorcing somebody. Being alone doesn't mean that you stay in a room, one person. Being alone doesn't mean that you drive in your car alone. It doesn't mean that you go and sit in a stadium or in a field or in a forest alone. When somebody tells you that you need to get the courage of being alone and totally alone for you to start to empower yourself, it means that you need to start understanding how to make decisions that are against the masses. How do you come out of the culture? How do you come out of what the majority says to believe what the minority says, because you have found out that the minority have been right, but the majority haven't been right all along? A change is not a little thing. For people to change, even in companies, even where you work, when new rule or new way of doing things is introduced, people rebel. People tend not to accept. People tend not to agree, because a change is not an easy thing. So being alone is taking an initiative to try and ask, what exactly is the reality? Yesterday on YouTube, I shared something and I talked about love doesn't need trust. For a love relationship to be a perfect one, for marriage to last long, you don't need trust. And you see, 70% of the population that we have today believes that any marriage, any love relationship is built in a foundation of trust. But then, the question that you need to ask yourself is, can you trust anyone? Does your parents trust you? Is your employer trusting you? Do you trust your children? Do you have anyone around you that you can trust? There's only one person we can trust. That is God. So it takes you to be alone. I want people to understand what's the meaning of being alone. It takes you to be alone, to question yourself, to understand that even though the masses talks about trust is the foundation of any marriage or love relationship, they have been wrong all along. It is not trust, but it is believing. We just need to believe in each other. All right? We need to believe that, this man and this woman that I've gotten is going to be the best that I've been looking for. But you see, when you put on trust in somebody and then they go and mess up, you kill your soul, you kill your heart, you start hating love, because you build your love on trust, which does not exist. Nobody can be trusted, but everyone can be believed. We can only trust in God. So it takes somebody to be alone to understand that relationships are not built on trust. They are built on believing. That's why when a company employs you, you have to sign a paper. When you get into a marriage, the first thing that happens in front of everybody is a paper that is signed called a marriage certificate. If you trust each other, why do you need a marriage certificate? If you trust each other, if you're building, be alone. That's why sometimes when I was doing my coaching studies, I learned how to be alone. And I realized that sometimes you need to look at things deeply and not just listen to what people say. and question yourself that, all right, we are building relationships on trust, but we are divorcing. Relationships ain't working. But trust means it is true. Trust means it can never go wrong. Trust means these people are perfect. Trust is perfection. So we only trust God. We don't trust anyone else. You cannot trust any human being. That is why when you want to get married, you are told that before that certificate is signed, we need witnesses. But then the same people who are telling you we need witnesses are telling you that your relationship has to be built on trust. So if we are building it on trust, why do we need witnesses? You see, guys, learn to be alone. And being alone is not staying in a room, one person. Being alone is not putting everyone away from yourself. Being alone is sitting down and start to question yourself that what goes around? Why are we wedding in churches in front of masses and still we have to write some papers? And then after the trust that was you are told that you're building your relationship in, after 1 year, after 6 months, you are divorced. What does it mean? We're building our relationships on believing. We believe in each other. I believe that this is the best man for me. I believe that this is the best woman. I don't trust, because trust is trueness. It is the most powerful form of believing, because you are sure. But when you believe, you're not sure. All right? So that was an example. So this night, what I want to tell you guys is start learning the way to become alone. Start teaching yourself how you can stay alone. And staying alone is how you can learn from the things that have been there, that have been hidden from us for so many years, that we've been just been following as masses. You see, when you are born as a child, you are told that you will be initiated, you will be taken through education, which is formal. We go to school and we learn alphabets every single year. The new enrollment, they are taught alphabets. And then you are taught things about history, religious studies, sciences, mathematics, languages. Then the people who are teaching you, and I'm not saying this to demean the people who teach us, but I want you to question yourself. This is to be alone. I want people to understand this. Be alone. Take yourself aside and be alone and question yourself. Some of you are in business class. There was a teacher who was teaching you business. And they were teaching you that for you to succeed in business, you have to do A, B, and C. That teacher himself don't believe in business. That's why he's a teacher. The teacher who was in class with you in primary school, in secondary school, in college, told you that the only way to success is through this education. You need to learn, you need to study, you need to wake up every morning early, around 4. We used to be waking up at 4 to go for morning preps. And we were told that right now you need to sacrifice your sleep because of your future. I want to ask you guys, because I know most of you are watching me now, you're not students. Is there anyone who's waking up at 12 noon? Is there anyone who is not sacrificing their sleep? Where is the success? Can you be alone and ask yourself a question? What is success? Does it mean that you have to sacrifice your life at a certain stage to not to sleep because you're chasing success? Because you need to pass exams and become something bigger? Did all those people who passed exams in school, are they living the best life that they want? The truth is, every person who learned a certain skill that is transferable is living a life they need. But every person that took a paper became a slave called an employee to a certain person who's using the skills that they can transfer to start a business, to teach like I'm teaching people here. You learn the skills of communication to relay information to people, and you earn from it. You study so hard. You wake up at 4 every single morning. You study very hard. You go to college. You get your papers, your degrees. You work so hard to do research. Research that don't give you skills. Research that makes you a good employee. You know, this is funny because when you learn to be alone, you can learn a lot of things. There's a time one of my nephews called me, and he's a little bit, uh, I can say that they're not that well off. So they called me and they said that he's supposed to be joining college. And the only thing they had was a piece of land. And they wanted to sell that piece of land and take the guy to school, to college. So I asked them, once you sell this piece of land and you go to college and you get your papers, do you have somewhere already that once you get out of college, you are going to get that job and start working? Or as you go to college, are you going to learn a skill that is going to help you to come out of the college to start a certain business, all right, or provide a certain service that will get you money? And they were like, just from high school, I need to get to college. That is the way, because I need to study. This was my advice. If the only thing that you have is that land and you have to sell it to go to school, don't sell it to go to school. Sell it and make money out of it. Sell it and find a way you can make income out of that. That is how people succeed. Because school will never disappear. Even at 40, you can go to school. Even at 50, you can go to school. But we have been sold so many things because people don't want to be alone. People want to be in groups. People want to be told. People want to listen to masses. There comes a time that you have to stop listening to 70% and listen to 30%. Once you have listened to 30%, get the 1%, which is you, to assess and ask yourself, where am I? Where do I belong? Who am I? Why was I given the name John and not the name that, emphasizes on my culture and my society? Why do I have to speak to masses right now in English? All Africans, we are all Africans here. Why do I have to speak in English? Why can't we all Africans speak a certain language that unites all of us? It's because there was no time that we sat alone. We wanted to sit with masses because we thought alone we cannot do it. Being alone is not sitting in a room and closing the door and start questioning yourself. Being alone is understanding, like, how do things work? How can I make this possible that has never been possible? How can I change this that has never been changed? If it has never happened, I'm going to be the first. That path, that road that somebody is telling you nobody has ever succeeded through this, that is the road that you want. Let me tell you guys, you see, that business that people are telling you has never succeeded in this place, that's the business you want. You just need to know the wisdom of how to do it. That age that somebody is telling you, this is age that nobody has ever been married at this age and succeeded. Maybe you are clocking 30, maybe you're clocking 45, maybe you're clocking 50, and you've never been married. And somebody is telling you that now you don't need marriage because you're already 40, so why do you need it? You are old. That's the time you need to get married, because a miracle is going to happen in your life. Be alone sometimes and forget about science. Be alone sometimes and be the first person who has ever done that at that period of time. We have something called Guinness Book of Records. Be the first person. That's why that book is there. That book is there to show us that there is someone who can do something as the first person. Marathon records are broken. People run and break records. And when they run and break that record, they write on top that, he's broken record by this. Nobody on earth has ever run this marathon at this particular minutes or seconds. Then after some years or decades or maybe, months, another person breaks the record. So break the record of what people believe that is not possible. Be the possible. Be the possibility. But you cannot become the possibility when you don't want to stay alone. You cannot become the possibility unless you choose to be alone. Don't scare people. Don't lock people out of your life to be alone. Being alone does not mean you chase people out of your life. Being alone means you understand why it has to work the way you want it to work. Being alone is you understand why you really need this thing to work. Guys, I'll tell you something. When I started to motivate people, when I started to speak to people back in 2019, a lot of friends used to tell me that, you know what, people don't buy motivation. You need to dance. You need to do something that, like comedy, because that's what people want. But I was telling them that, you know what? I know why God gave me a voice. God did not give me a voice to talk about comedy. He did not give me a voice to make people laugh. He gave me a voice to make people smile. And that's why I always say keep smiling. Because a laugh can help you, but a smile can change your life. A great coach can help you. A good coach can help you, but a great one can save your life and can change your life. So you can only keep smiling when I have to speak. If I would have stopped that time and I said that, okay, let's go to comedy, I would have not been the best comedian in town. What God purposed me was to help you to talk the truth that people are running away from. That's why some of my videos, people run away from them because I don't entertain. I've sat with myself, I've taken myself, there's a period of time that I isolated myself. And I started questioning every single thing. I questioned the aspect of going to school, the aspect of marriage, the aspect of having kids, the aspect of giving, the aspect of forgiveness. And I realized that if you do not use wisdom in all this, you become a loser. I'll give you an example of forgiveness. There's a video that is here, one of the best videos that I've ever done, that talks about the second chance. And it was saying that be very careful when you offer the second chance, because not everyone who comes after betrayal have realized their mistakes. Most of them come because they want to finish what they did not do or what they left in you. Then people are like, oh, you should not be like this. You should forgive. You should have a good heart. Don't speak hate. God does not want this. Who are you to judge? Then I ask myself a question. I don't ask people, because you will find I don't argue with people, especially if I don't know you. I don't have time to argue with you. I try to teach you, and if you don't understand what I'm teaching, I leave you to have your say because you also have an opinion. So I started questioning myself. Forgiveness is taught in the Bible. Then I questioned myself, why was Moses not forgiven? Do you guys remember that Moses is the one who was sent by God to take the Israelites out of Egypt? And he did the job. And in fact, Israelites went to Canaan, but Moses never saw the land of Canaan. Have you ever guys asked yourself why he was not forgiven? Everybody says that God is forgiving. Why was Moses not forgiven? You see, when you don't sit alone and question yourself, the masses can destroy you by preaching what is just read directly, and then they don't analyze it fully. There comes a time that you have to punish people. That is why you are told that the rules of the day must be followed. That is why we have courts. That is why there are people as we speak in prison. That's why we have people as we speak today that are paying for what they did wrong. So when somebody betrays you, you have to be careful with them. Being careful with them do not mean that you don't forgive them. You forgive them, but they don't drink from the same glass that they used to drink in. That's being careful. Most of the people come to destroy what is left in you. When we say most of the people, it means some people can come back second time, and they can come because they have realized their mistake. They come for the goodness. But most of them don't come because they have realized their mistakes. So it's about being careful. Today I want to teach you, my students and my brothers and sisters, learn to be alone. Learn to question every single thing. Learn to question even your pastor. Learn to question even your teacher. Because today you don't question your pastor, tomorrow you see your pastor have slept with another woman, your pastor has raped somebody, your pastor have stolen money, and then you start questioning the church. It is not the church, it is the pastor. Learn to question everything that you see around you. That is the meaning of being alone. A person who learns to understand himself in loneliness becomes a very powerful person. When you question things, when you question people, when you want to know more about it, you become powerful. It doesn't mean that you're chasing people away from you. I told people on TikTok recently that Donald Trump talked about something last week about schools and businesses and how people are being manipulated through school and through employment. That video is no longer available anywhere. It has been deleted. I've searched for that video and it's not there. And this is how people are being manipulated across the world. When somebody gets something, when somebody becomes alone, Donald Trump decided to be alone and told people that, hey, wait, this system of education is what is making people dumb. This system of employment that you have to come out of college with degrees and then you get employed is what is making people poor. And then he went ahead to explain so many things about that. That video is nowhere to be seen. It has been censored. And that's how they've been silencing Donald Trump. Because I don't like him, by the way. I don't like Donald Trump. But what I love about Donald Trump is like he's always a truthful person. And the system don't love people who speak the truth. Let me tell you, system that we have in our society today do not love people that speak the truth. Once you start to reveal, because it is a system that is being controlled by a certain people who wants to remain in the powerful positions. So they want you to be dumb. That's why you are being told that marriage and love relationship is founded on trust. There's nothing like that. You can never trust anyone. You can never trust a human being. We can only trust God. So when somebody is telling you that for a marriage to last, for a relationship to last, you need to trust each other. Who do you trust? You guys are watching. I think we're around 18 or 20 watching. Do you have anyone that you trust in your life? I want to know. Maybe I'm wrong. Do you have someone that you trust in your lives? The only people we have in our lives is people we can believe. When you look at what trust talks about, the meaning of trust is being sure. You are sure. Now I want to ask you, now you have a love relationship. You are loving someone, you're dating someone. Are you sure that they are going to marry you? Some of you are married, okay? And you've been taught that your marriage can only last when you trust each other. I want to ask you a question. Are you sure that you will never divorce? Some of you say, maybe, we don't know. It's God's plan. If God plans that, the moment you have a doubt, that is not trust. So people are not getting relationships right because we are trying to search for people we can trust. But there's none. We can only trust in God. We can only find people we can believe. I believe that John is a good guy and he can be a good husband to me. But when you build your heart on believing, it means you have opened your heart to accept any result. Believing means I have some kind of understanding, but I don't have proof that John can be a good husband to me. Even though I don't have proof, but I still accept that we are going to try this. So it is not built on trust, it is built on belief. Be alone to understand how interesting life can be. You see, when you build it on belief, even if you try and it doesn't work, tomorrow you will wake up and you will try again. But when you build it on trust, and once trust is broken, it is said you can never build it. And therefore, we can only trust in God because God never fails. Human beings fail every day. Human beings change every single day. They will say this, tomorrow they will do that. They will tell you that, we love you, but tomorrow they love another person. So build a capacity that can help you to stand alone. The moment you know how to stand alone, my dear sisters and brothers, you become a powerful person. I'm this one person. People who are closer to me, people who work with me, people who have ever been, crossed my path, know that it is never easy to shake me. I don't just accept things. It's either you explain yourself fully so that I understand what you're talking about, because I trust no one. I don't even trust myself. I only believe in myself. Because there are so many things I've promised myself, but I fail myself. So how can I trust myself? I promised myself that from next month, I'll be starting a gym. I'll be going to gym because I want to cut weight. The next month comes, I get into something else. I get into a course. I find a course that is very interesting. So I start the course. I leave the gym. How do you want to call that trust? I don't trust myself. How can I trust others? The next day you're like, this time I'm not going to get into any relationship. I don't want relationship anymore in my life. Then after 1 week, you meet some guy who's very good, handsome like I am, and then you're like, oh, let me try again. It's not going to work because you are not trusted. So what am I trying to tell you guys? I am trying to explain to you, build yourself on belief. I believe that, next month I need to do what we call a gym. I want to cut weight. So I believe that next month I'm going to start a gym. And I believe in myself. If something comes and you don't do the gym, you don't hate yourself. I want to do this relationship again. I've failed. I've divorced. It never worked. But I still believe that I can find someone. You go, you meet another woman, you meet another man, and you tell them that I believe in you. I believe that you're the one who's going to change my life. I believe that this relationship is going to work. And I believe that we are going to get married. I believe nobody can be trusted. Not even yourself. You cannot trust yourself. You have failed yourself for so many times. So when you build belief, apart from trying to build trust, you become bigger, you become stronger, you become better. So my lesson today to you guys is understand how to work alone. Understand how to question everything. Understand how to question your government. Understand how to question your pastor. Understand how to question your coach, even me. Understand how to question things. Nobody is perfect. And trust can only happen when you get perfection. That is why we say, I trust in God. And let me tell you, stop believing in God. Start trusting God. Because if you are somebody who knows that God lives and God exists and God is your creator, you do not need to believe in God. You need to trust in God. Because a belief means, I don't know if you guys have ever Googled or gone into the dictionary to check the meaning of to believe. To believe means that I am just saying, but I don't have proof. But trusting means this is the truth. So God is the truth. Trust in Him. Believe people. Because people are not to be trusted. People are not perfect. God is perfect. So when you learn how to trust God, you can believe people. When you learn how to trust God, you get the power of being alone. You get the power of questioning everything. But when you are believing in God, it means you are doubting Him. Because what you believe in, you doubt it because you don't have proof. So learn to trust God and start believing in people. Believe in marriages. Believe in relationships. Believe in love. Believe in revenge. Believe in all these things. Don't trust them. Don't trust a marriage. Don't trust relationship. It will break your heart. It will make you to hate people. As I finish this class today, guys, I want to remind you something. I believe that anyone who wants to become somebody or something has got the key in their hands. Hey, my sisters and brothers, do not allow anyone to become a middleman that will help you to come from one step to another. Don't allow somebody to be a mediator between you and God. When God gave us life, He gave us the power to become whatever we want to become. So do not wait for somebody to lift his hands up and pray for you to get the miracle you're looking for. Once you know how to trust God, once you understand how God is trusted, you can pray and God can do that miracle. You can put your knees down and speak to God, and God will give that miracle. That is how to learn to be lonely. People have died because we are running with this person who's dying, looking for the pastor or looking for a certain prophet to pray for us. But Jesus told us that right now, I'm going to my Father's home where there are so many houses, and I will prepare your houses. But as I stay there, I'm sending somebody that will be a helper to you. He did not say anywhere that I'm sending a helper who will be with your pastor or your prophet, and therefore you will run to your prophet for a miracle to happen. He said, I am sending a helper that will be with you. So learn on how you can trust in Him, and your miracle is going to happen. If I did not believe in myself, If I did not trust in God, if I did not take my time alone to leave everybody, let me tell you guys, I blocked so many people. I broke so many friendships. I came out of so many groups to become the person that I am. I've never had a good past. I've had my stories. I've had my wrongdoings. But I had to break those chains and leave some friendship, leave some groups and stand alone and question myself. And I purchased a Bible, which is always with me here. This is my Bible. And I started reading this Bible from chapter to chapter because I wanted to create that relationship between me and God and question God and ask Him, God, how do I get to know you? How do I get to know my purpose? How do get to know why I am here? God, if you created the world, if you're the owner of all golds and diamonds and everything, why must I suffer? Why must I always go every Sunday and pray? And somebody convinced me that, oh, you because you are a born again, you riches are not for us. Why? Why I have to suffer? And God revealed to me that, you know what? Once you know me, you become wealthy. Silver, gold, and diamonds belongs to you. And therefore you don't have to suffer. That's being alone. Be alone and get out of the group that is telling you that you have to suffer because you need to see somebody.